Welcome back. We're talking about patience and the secret ingredient to patience being forgiveness. We talked about forgiveness being a very large word covering a lot. I want to tell you a story. It's actually a parable that was taught by Jesus during his time on the earth. And what he talks about is a king that took a survey of his land, and he found some of the landowners, some of the greater landowners that owed him money. And one of these landowners, when he brought him in, the king says, hey, look, you got to pay your bill. This is what's due. And the landowner was like, man, I can't afford to pay that. I don't have that money right now. And the king says, no problem. We'll just, put you in prison, take your wife, your children, put them to hard labor, and we'll get this money back. The man's broken. He's like, no way, man. Please, I need some mercy. You can't hold me to that accountability. I'm just not able to do that, and I couldn't bear to watch my family suffer. And so the king, in his heart, was moved, and he was moved, and he had compassion on this man. And he says, you know what? I forgive you. He forgave his debt. He released him from this massive debt. So this landowner goes back, and now he's a free man. He goes back, and he's got some people that owed him money, and one person individual, or in particular, couldn't make his payment. And so this particular landowner, it says he grabbed him by the neck, jacked him up, and he's like, hey, give me my money. Well, some of the other landowners, they saw this, and it grieved them in the way that he treated this particular individual. So they went and told the king, and the king was like, wait a minute. I just forgave him of all of his debt, and he couldn't pass that forgiveness on to someone else? So he sent for him and brought the man in and had him imprisoned. And he was imprisoned and tortured, and the king got basically what was owed to him out of this man. Now, why do I share this story? I share this story because we have to understand that when it comes to debt, we all have debts. And greater than the fact that we all have debts, we all have debts that are unpaid. And we also have debts that we've been given grace on. And let me tell you, the major debt that all of us have is what's called the sin debt. The Bible clearly declares that the wages of sin is death. And so the simple fact that you wake up in the morning and breathe into your nose means that you've been forgiven of your sins, because you're not dead. And it's in that forgiveness, in that grace that we've been given, in that forgiveness that God has given us and allowed us breath, allowed us life, that we must go on and forgive others who have sinned against us or who have debts against us. Now, please don't misinterpret. I'm not saying that you don't balance the scales. I'm not saying that monies owed need to be released. But what I am saying is that when you've identified within reason your ability to forgive a debt, forgive it. Forgive as you have been forgiven. Now, we're talking about money, but there's greater things than money, like the sin debt that has to do with our life, like offenses, like trespasses, like things that people have done or said or even taken from you. Can you forgive? Do you have that power to forgive? Well, we'll keep on in this discussion and have another discussion for another drive. But until then, please like, share, follow, and comment. And I'll see you soon.